provinces, and even whole countries closing institutions of learning as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Almost 70% of the world's students are not attending schools, colleges, and universities. Nevertheless, COVID-19 has opened up opportunities for learning via online platforms. St. Joseph Engineering College, Mangalore, Department of Business Administration, in its endeavor for continuous and non-stop learning, has been organizing several webinars, FDPs, student development programs using virtual platforms. Today, we have two resource persons from the industry, Mr. Bharat Shivappa and Ms. Jaya Kumar, to speak on the topic Brand Antidote for Brand Managers. It is my proud privilege to introduce both of them. Mr. Bharat Shivappa is the Chief Strategy Officer with J. Sagar Associates, Bengaluru. He has anchored the firm's strategy and growth initiatives. Previously, Bharat led the sales and marketing at Deloitte India as a director marketing. He has spent over a decade at Deloitte. During his tenure, he was deputed as head of marketing and was also part of global marketing leadership team. He has also worked with Vodafone India for over 5 years in the areas of strategic account management and sales. Bharat has substantial experience in driving sales, market strategy, and branding initiatives. He has worked across legal, consulting, technology, and telecom industries with an experience of over 18 years. Bharat is a regular public speaker on issues like growth, innovation, brand strategy across industry forums organized by BCIC, FKCCI, educational institutes, etc. He holds MBA from the reputed Cochin University of Science and Technology and BBA from Mangalore University. We welcome you, Bharat.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ms. Jaya Kumar. Ms. Jaya Kumar is AGM Business Development and Head Marketing and Communication with J. Sagar Associates and anchors the business firm's marketing and communication along with the assistance in the strategy and growth. Jaya is now based in Mumbai. Jaya has extensive experience in content management, communication, public relations, market strategy, and branding initiatives. She is a lawyer by qualification, but has been marketing law firms for 12 years. Jaya has LLB degree from the University of Mumbai and BA degree from Sophia College for Women, University of Mumbai. In her free time, she likes to spend time reading, traveling, and painting. We welcome you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
I welcome all the attendees from India and abroad for this webinar. A warm welcome to one and all. I now request Mr. Bharat and Ms. Jaya to take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pinto, for a kind and warm introduction of both me and Jaya. In fact, it was nice of you to pick a small story that of ours that CNBC published some recent time back, and you asked us to speak to your students, and we are happy to do that. I think today's theme that we again designed on the same session, the same story that we wrote, which is again what we called as brand antidote for brand managers. The real reason using that term is because of the current situation, and we were thinking that we do that for life, and we were thinking internally that are we doing the right things or doing the things right, and when it comes to playing our role as a brand manager to the firm, and in the domain of marketing, are we doing the things right? And that's when we kind of penned down this article, and glad that CNBC picked up. So today, therefore, the overall context or structure of our session is going to be on that, contextualizing with the current pandemic and the situation of crisis and how we should kind of look at marketing from those lenses. So the whole structure is, we are talking about the brand context, and then we touch upon a framework, a typical framework for branding or marketing that one should look at, and some of the other aspects that we will touch today. So while I move to the next slide, I would request Ragesh to maybe do a quick poll. I just wanted you to think for a second, and what comes to top of your mind when you think about a particular brand. Why do you choose a brand? How do you choose a brand? Why a brand should matter to you, right? Whatever reasons comes first thing in your mind, I would request you to select. I think there are around 7 options there. Because brand, I wanted this opinion is because brand is a very widely used term. Multiple people, multiple businesses, multiple contexts have different meanings for brand, right? Some of the great ones think brand, is something, nothing but, it's a marketing about your values. We have the survey results ready, Ragesh?
Can see the results here.
Okay, interesting. I think many of you are still trying to pick up, but I have 26 people who have commented that trust is one of the biggest reasons. Interesting. Reliability. And I'm very happy to see at least a couple of them feel that happiness is a good reason. Ease of decision making has, and safety. Yeah, these are the typical answers that you get, because why we get this is because this is what typically a conscious mind is answering a question. But brand is not all about, I think we can take off this off screen. Brand is, that's where I wanted to touch upon brand. Brand is not really restricted to, addressing a conscious mind. Brand is beyond a conscious mind. What I mean by this is, look at brand. Okay, I just mentioned that brand is everything, because in a day's life, from the time we wake up, and sometimes even including until we time sleep, and sometimes including in our dreams, we end up making constant choices, and these constant choices, involve mostly the brands, which toothpaste to use, now which cereal to eat. Okay, the table, the mobile, the pen, laptop, everything around us is brands, and we constantly making brand choices, and very few times of that choices would be consciously made, otherwise mostly unconscious. So when you give these answers that why I choose a brand when it comes to trust and values, it's your conscious response. But most of it, you just look at a day of in your life, right? Like yesterday, how many things that we did yesterday consciously we remember today? Give and take, it should be not more than 10 to 15%, which means mostly our mind, our all actions are subconsciously driven or unconsciously driven. So the right branding, therefore, addresses that unconscious part of the mind or a subconscious part of the mind, right? So that's why brand is everything. If you look at, there are multiple, definitions that you must have come across. I'm not suggesting that you pick one of these as your definitions when you have to answer your questions in the exam. But this is more like what we feel that the brand delivers. Brand is what brand delivers, right? So, for example, I mentioned here saying that business objective lights customer delight. So the brand carries that responsibility of a business objective of a firm or a company, taking that all through till you achieve this customer delight, and that's the whole cycle. There is a branding involved, right? It is not just the product or the service that the company sells. It's the culture of the firm. It's a value and belief of the firm. When I talk about value, belief, I always remember, Mr. Apple, Steve Jobs. One I really look up to. He has very, very interesting things that he has done when it comes to brand. I'm not sure many of you may remember, this is quite dated, but you must have seen those posts coming once in a while on your social media network, where that Mac story, when he launches Mac, he comes back to Apple, launches Mac, and his messaging was very beautiful. He talks about, marketing is all about finding a way to communicate what we believe. And in that beautiful ad of his, when Apple launched their Mac, they talk about the rebels. They talk about the people who made the difference to the world. Einstein, they covered even Gandhiji as an example, and they just showed the story of them. And they said, this is what Mac believes, to make a difference. Think different, Mac, right? Amazing. There is no mention of, and that too in the times of when computer was not really, really well known. A typical marketer, what we have done, we would have looked at the product feature, and a lot of specification and what value that product delivers. Okay, we would have focused on that, and we would have run our campaigns on those aspects. But it was, Jobs who thought very differently, a purpose-led thinking. He said it's beyond. Branding is all about what I believe. And when that is communicated, you don't have to sell yourself. A classic, example on the same line is the Nike. Another amazing example. I'm sure you all use shoes. The one thing that makes Nike stand apart compared to any other peers, whether it's Reebok, whether it's Power, any brands that you take, right? Timberland. Everybody, while they talk about the pump feature, pump shoes, power shoes, running, blah, blah, they get into those features. Nike just in their advertisements, in their campaigns, in their messaging, you can see that they just appreciate great sports and sportsmen, because that's what they believe and nothing else. But you all know, when you think about Nike, we don't think about the shoes. Their brand, we think about something different, much larger. And that touches your subconscious or unconscious mind. And that's the beauty of, thinking different when it comes to brand. So brand is not just your campaigns or your plan to promote a product or a service so that it achieves customer delight. When you are a brand manager in reality, and we're running a brand of a company, your responsibilities really, really expands much beyond, what we think as, developing, designing brand campaigns. It's also about understanding the right market, right marketing, right customers, right segment, right positioning, and right context. Very, very important. I can talk for hours about some of these beautiful case studies, I told you about a couple of successful brands now. Some of them we were not so successful because of not identifying the, some of these aspects. For instance, our own Tata Nano, right? A beautiful product, most affordable ever launched. And, it's like giving a dream for somebody who's a two-wheeler owner to own a four-wheeler. But, what went wrong there? I think the aspect that, somewhere people, they made it most affordable at 1 lakh car. The fact that very part of that messaging worked against it. The reason why is because while, that segment is mostly this, this Maruti 800 owners, right? A proud owner, a family car, or an affordable car. There was already a segment, this one there. But somewhere people started, making a sense that, this is the cheapest car available. So I don't want to be owner of a cheapest car, It's a pride, sentiment, and emotional aspect that consumer never, willing to buy. And in that may be the strongest reason why Tata Nano was not that successful it was. Similarly, Timberland has an amazing product, but again, not a right market. Right? You must have heard multiple stories like this. Another fantastic brand I can think of is Danone, the dairy brand. But the whole thing is, our experience when we think about a dairy product is completely different. There is an Amul that comes on top of our mind. Even Mother Dairy is beautifully managed. But Danone somewhere, did not set the right context in India. They didn't realize the context and, did not position themselves in the manner that they should have. That is where, a brand manager has to think, his role really expands beyond, only the brand design aspects to these all areas. He has to understand the whole business context and hold the market context and the marketing context. Marketing is always developed on the consumer in the right market, and that's when you design. Bisleri Pop was another example because you have a strong recall. Bisleri means drinking water. They came with Bisleri Pop. But the biggest challenge is, to undo a perception that they already created.
Our apologies for the technological tardiness. I think there was some technical issue or network issue at Bharat's end. We'll just wait for him for 2 more minutes. And we will, if he is not able to connect back, I'll go on with my slides.
Hello, I'm trying to join back. Sorry, there's an issue.
Bharat, you're already in.
Am I already in? Okay, sorry. Can you see I need to share the screen, right?
Yes.
Oh. One second. Sorry, I'm not able to somewhere expand this link. Ragesh, I need your help.
You can open your presentation. We can see a screen.
Okay. Okay. Can you see? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So sorry about that glitch. So I was talking about the brand. Therefore, is a brand and the role of a brand manager is to look at a holistic aspect that impact the business and then plan or design or set up context for the brand. Sorry, some challenge with the. Okay, so now let's take a minute and understand the brand strategy framework, right? Or you can also call what are the basic component of your brand strategy? How do you build a brand strategy? Okay, there are two major components. There are multiple components in this, but if you look at split your whole exercise that you need to do while you draft a brand strategy for any product or any service is a classic 2x2, which is there are two larger aspects. One is the market. Market means a community of customers, your buyers, your consumers, the whole channel put together. And then the second thing is marketing, where you're talking about your particular brand and your brand positioning, right? How competitive is my brand in the market? How am I positioned compared to my competition, right? Here we can talk about two classic examples. For example, when you look at any of the Unilever product, so that in terms of the product, when we take any consumer product, like say a soap or a toothpaste, okay, you don't have to educate the market and create that need, because most of the products are basics and the market is very matured to buy a soap. So what happens from marketing side? What do? You start investing your next buck into enhancing your brand positioning compared to your other competition in the market. So when we think about a soap, we need to think about my brand. Some of these old brands like Xerox did amazingly. It took a lot of time for us to realize even today that it's a photocopy, not Xerox. I don't think even those photocopy shops have understood that. They still call brand it Xerox, and they may be having completely a different Panasonic machine inside, right? But still, that's the power of brand. So on the other hand, what happens is particularly the space that we come from, me and Jaya come from, in the services industry, in the consulting industry, where a lot of these emerging products, we may have to end up creating the market, right? For example, if you talk about blockchain, Professor Ragesh teaches you that. Now, if you talk about blockchain, let's say a company starts creating that a brand about blockchain, and they only invest on creating their brand, they may not still make a great success. The reason why is because the market may not be as mature as we think for that blockchain service or a product, right? So which means the first thing that we need to look at, where should we, what is the need of that particular marketing? Do I have to create a market? Do I have to educate my consumers? Do I have to convert unrealized to a realized need? And that is where a branding efforts has to be to kind of create content that educates the market. What is this product all about? Why is this product? How it is going to build efficiency and profitability to your firm, right? Automation, for example, is another big example. Robotic process automation, RPAs, so what we call, that's been a big hit in the market, that too particularly in the services companies and the companies that have large manpower to manage their accounting processes. It has become a big hit. Why? Because you have bots who work 24/7 to do repeatable jobs such as account payable, account receivable, and so on. So that again is an interesting space. But the players who came in that market, whether it's like players like Automation Anywhere, all of these guys, how they kind of started capturing market, they didn't really focus on building a brand campaigns and Automation Anywhere. They started creating a content for educating the market, that why automation, how it is going to help, what are the risks and how the risks are mitigated, right? And that gave a confidence in their consumers, their customers, who are the heads of companies that has a large finance operations, right? a lot of these call centers, GICs, is what we call global in capability centers, captive centers, and so on. And they've immediately kind of resonate. So they targeted those campaigns to them, which is like, your consumer segment, the customer community, and you kind of focus and build some content to educate that market. And that automatically takes care of your brand. You don't have to build a brand. Right. That's an amazing way where how SAP did or Cisco did. You must have heard, like Cisco certified or SAP certified consultant. So like SAP coaching classes, you have an SAP certified. So what they did, they really kind of developed either talent or they created a brand by just educating people on the product or service itself. So created the market. So what they're parallelly doing is when you created a talent with certain skills, then they will obviously find out a job. And obviously Cisco would be the an obvious choice of there as a product. Right? Some of these amazing things. So you need to look at both the aspects. One is creating, developing, nurturing the market. I'm talking about from a content side. On the y-axis or x-axis, you talk about enhancing your brand, compared to your competition. So which means tomorrow, if it's a blockchain, you need to, people talk about blockchain, people have to remember your brand, right? So you need to, both these aspects are important, but it's very important to understand that where does my current product stand in which area? Is it a matured brand in a matured market, matured brand in a less matured market, or a less known brand in a mature market? According to that, your brand activities, your marketing activities has to change, and then that's where the trade-off comes. Do I need to build a strategy or a spend to enhance market maturity versus improving my competitive position? These are two, I would say, pertinent questions brand managers should answer. Right? I think, yeah. Before I move to this next part, which is mainly, this is more into giving a perspective about brand and some of the random thoughts on brand. But about what we wrote as a story, and also to share some of the thoughts that we've been implementing and which has been successful, which is more focused on the current scenario. I would request my colleague Jaya to take over. And before she does, I would like Professor Ragesh again to maybe share another poll that Jaya wanted us to share. Yeah. After this poll, I think over to Jaya.
Can see, can see the results on the right.
Yeah, thank you, Ragesh. Jaya, you can take it over.
Thank you, Bharat. So I see, and thanks for such a warm welcome. So I see the results of the poll, and most of you have given service and product features are the most important dominant feature for your business. I hear you guys, and I appreciate that you guys took time to do the poll. But in this situation, and maybe going forward, how the business is going to change, maybe we have a different take on it. And our take, and especially my take on this right now, is good service product, of course, is most important. But there is an emotion related to how you portray your service and products, and for us it's empathy. So I request Bharat to go on the other slide now, and I'll just take it ahead from here. So, as you guys know who Satya Nadella is, I don't need to introduce him. And for him taking over as Microsoft CEO in 2014 was a big news. And this is a quote that he also said when he took over, when the stocks were down, and he's taking over and changing the culture, which really made Microsoft again go on one of the top companies on that. And he says, I truly believe that each of us must find meaning in our work. The best work happens when you know that it's not just work, but something that will improve other people's lives. He shifted the way Microsoft was functioning. He did a culture change internally in Microsoft than focusing on the products. And that is how he today is one of the leaders in the country, one of the influencers, and one of the people who people look up to. So yes, if you add empathy to the service and product which you guys are told for running your business as a marketer, it will be magic. That's how we are looking at it, and in our B2B services, it's one of the important things we have to understand. And as we said, empathy is important. My question to everybody and my answer to everybody is empathy. As Bharat had mentioned about Nike, there is another example of Nike. Bharat, you can go on the slide, please. I was speaking about Nike. So Nike,
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
you can go ahead, Bharat. No problem.
Okay.
Coming back to Nike, the Nike's tagline is "Just do it." But but you know what Nike did in this pandemic? They said, "For once, just don't do it." By that they meant please do not go out of your houses. Stay at home. They changed their way of marketing. They use the same tagline, but they just put the tagline saying, don't do it. They did not care that their tagline will change. They did not care if their shoes or sports material are getting sold. What they cared was the health and the wealth and the country's prosperity, and of course they cared about the frontliners. So that is important. The brand strategy advisor Kantar, they did a recent study when this coronavirus attacked the human race, and 77% of clients expect brands to be helpful during this pandemic. Empathy and kindness really makes your clients and customers remember you. They would say, at that situation, people helped me. He did not come selling. He gave me space. He gave me space to understand how I will run my business. And of course, if you run a business, you will definitely have to get services from different vendors, different service providers. They will reach you because sometimes not marketing or no marketing is your marketing. In situations where it's important, it's crisis marketing, crisis management, please give your clients and customers some space. Put yourself in the shoes of your clients and customers and understand, okay, this is what is required right now. I can't go hard selling. I shouldn't be doing that. Think like a child. When your parents come home, they are tired from work, and you wanted this toy, and you are like, okay, you are at that age where you understand the emotions. They're like, no, today dad is not feeling very well. He's very tired, or I can't ask mom to cook my favorite dish. Why? Because you understand, you emote with it. Because you say, no, not today. We can wait. You will not remember it. Your parents will remember it. My child did not bother me the day I was very tired. What a wonderful child. So you have to start thinking like that because the dynamics are changing. The business dynamics are changing. So you have to understand from kindness, emotions. Money will come. If you put your plan on path, understanding how your customer and client will be reacting like right now, because we are in a reactive stage, nobody is in a responsive stage, you will understand. Like you can see the example on the screen, alcohol beverage major, Diageo. They make alcohol. Yes, they must be serving to healthcare providers, not to drink. were to include it in their sanitizer bottle. What they did, they went a step ahead. They manufactured sanitizer bottles. 8 million. 8 million is not a small number. And the amount of money that they invested in it, hats off to Diageo. You know, a law firm like us, JSA, Bharat and I belong to the firm and we are into B2B business. Diageo is also B2B, B2C both. But, you know, we will always remember Diageo as, you know, when we pitch to Diageo, we have to remember this point because they were kind. This is also a story making conversation you can have with your client. So remember these things. These are important things. Aviation industry is not doing well universally, but JetBlue did not think about it. JetBlue went ahead and they waived off all the cancellation charges because of Corona. Facing loss, but no, they took care of their passengers because passengers are God for them. They are their clients, they are their customers. B2C, B2B both. So it's important. But on the other hand, insurance companies are very happy that coronavirus has attacked us. Then there will be a lot of money that insurance companies will be making. Not that they want people to die or people to get affected by it, but the money is important. Even, you know, talking about B2B, we are a top tier law firm in the country. And when we also pitch to clients now, because lawyers are always busy and everybody needs lawyers. We are also very, very kind to people who had applied for us, to us, the PPOs, even lateral hiring. We had promised that the job is secured and we abided by it. It makes a lot of difference. Your employees are your employees are your brand symbols, and how you treat them in crisis situation is really important. So that is going to make you a winner when you brand your product or services. If you have these 3 points, these 2-3 points which I have just mentioned, if you keep it with you and you apply for jobs, you have to understand the dynamics, how dynamics are changing. Even if you, when there are PPOs happening or you guys are interning, do try to understand how the company is functioning, how the company is reacting to their customers. And of course, please give your inputs. This is also a learning phase for you. And I would say take Corona as a blessing because this is the time to have a perspective. You think about yourself, think about how you can manage brands, small, big, medium, everything, everything needs branding. So this is your time to learn and this is your time to give inputs. So that's how we are functioning, and that's what my point is. Of course, the most important thing is empathy and give space. Remember these points, it's important. Bharat, can you please go ahead with the other side? Now, some of the branding thoughts that we have also done at the law firm, and we have also seen people doing it in this situation specifically. They are doing two, 3 things which are very prominent. One is a webinar, one other is content creation, and also how they're treating their employees. And these things are making news. So webinars. Now, if you see on the screen, we have written death by webinar. It's become a common phase in the B2B marketing because that's the only way we are reaching out to clients. We can't physically meet them. So the way we are doing it, we can't do events. So the way we are doing is virtual events and connecting with people. But if the same company does 5 webinars in a month, it's negative marketing. Nobody will attend after the 3rd webinar. So keep the space, keep the frequency good, but keep the space between. Again, space. Space again is a very important word. Keep spaces between webinars and pick up topics which are really relevant. Like JSA did a webinar just day before yesterday, which was on direct listing of offshore Indian companies. Now, we just didn't do it we just didn't get any lawyer and we started talking and we started marketing. No, we had a global lawyer, we had an Asia Pacific lawyer, and we had JSA lawyers. And we get very, very good reviews from the clients and from media saying this was an important topic because people are lost. SEBI is changing their laws every day. That's of course from the legal perspective, but most B2B marketing has different laws and different regularities that they need to follow. So it's important to pick up the right topic and do it in a frequency where your clients are not getting spammed by your mails. No, that we don't want to do that. Content creation, again, another very important. I mean, And our webinar was so famous that we got reviews from journalists and from other clients who were talking about it. So according to both Bharat and me, we believe content should be so strong that other people talk about it. That's your word of mouth marketing. You don't even need any other tool to market yourself. And when you create content, and if you're creating it, say with another consulting firm, another company, like a joint collaboration, then your duplication of content is decreased. Your content gets more hits because both the company's clients will be looking at it. And obviously, it will have different views. Two companies working together will have a lot of other lenses to look at. So it will obviously create a lot of number will increase of how many people have viewed it or how many people have attended that kind of content. It's a holistic view or cohesive view of looking at content creation with some other firm. And then the most important thing, according to me, and I think my firm also believes in it, employees. As I said earlier also, employees are value plus and they are the ambassadors of your brand. It's very important to keep them happy. And as I was talking about Satya Nadella, when he had joined, he said, you have to empower every person and every organization to achieve more. That's how the culture shift that he did was he empowered his own employees. He joined at a point where Microsoft was not doing well. But he has 3 kids. One of them has special needs. So he definitely understands how to empower. His special needs son is 21 years old today, but he knows how to empower because he has gone through that journey. That has not broken him, it made him stronger. He has applied the same empowerment policy internally in Microsoft, and look at Microsoft today, doing so well. And your will leave at some point of time. Some will become CEOs of the same company, some will leave. But when they leave also, they will have a very positive impact and positive messaging about your company, saying, I work there, but in crisis management, they help me. It's important. That messaging is very important. And all these 3 brackets that we have included here are interconnected. So that's about branding thoughts, and we are applying these also practically in our organization. Bharat, can you go ahead, please? Now, my favorite topic, and I am sure it's favorite topic for all you young students listening to me also, social media. Now, if you see this chart here, this chart is taken from an influencer agency, which really did not exist when I was growing up. So we didn't know what influencers are. For me, influencer was Indira Gandhi, or for me, an influencer was me, Karl Marx or Mahatma Gandhi, which we used to read in book. Today, an influencer agency had taken out a poll and taken out a survey by showing this to us, saying in 2011 the social media was lower than what traditional TV was. But then they have estimated in 2021 the social media is where the traditional TV was in 2011, and the traditional TV has gone down where social media was in 2011. Look at the shift. It's a very powerful tool. They say the power of social media. It is. But please be wary of being dignified on it. It's like an ocean. But use the water very well. Otherwise, there will be global warming. It's important to use water well. Exactly, it's important to use your messaging very well on social media. You have to be very dignified. You can't put everything and anything. Again, content is very important. Like on their Glow and Handsome. Now, one mistake if HUL does on social media, or one mistake if Emami does on social media, they're already at war. But one of them, these are both MNC giants, one of them will win the case. They already have an injunction since 2011, I think, or 14, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a powerful tool and you have to use it very well. It will, of course, you have to use messaging which will increase traffic on your website, which will create brand awareness. And that brand awareness will lead to conversation. And that is what you want. You want conversations with real people to get your brand on top of your game. So yeah, that's what I want to say about social media. Even Microsoft, as my favorite example actually, Microsoft had bought LinkedIn, and it was one of his biggest M&As. If you see Satya Nadella's interviews, he is proud to say that in my tenure, I bought LinkedIn. So yeah, use social media well. There is a very, very big and strong influencer marketing. Right. I'm not sure how the influencer universe will survive because things are changing. But they of course are using social media and they are saying, I have so many followers, so use my product and I will help your product. I know a company which is in retail and it's a confidential company. I can't take the name, but they have done well only via social media. Only via social media. And there are ways to increase your brand awareness through social media, which of course you're reading in your studying in your college, and you guys can get in touch with us also if you need any information. But it's really, really powerful. Like if you want to buy a shampoo or any face cleaner, and if you type it on Google, their social media power is so strong, their game is so strong. That's the first shampoo that comes. It has left behind all other shampoos and all other body washes. So yes, it's important, and you should see how it's estimated 128% of rise 21. But of course, be dignified and be very, very use it well. Make it use it in your stride. So that's what my pointers are on empathy, branding, thoughts, the branding we are doing, and social media. And now I give back the speaking authorities to Bharat, and he can then take it ahead from here. Thank you, Bharat, for giving the slides and speaking authority to me.
Thank you, Jaya. It was fantastic, in fact, to hear some of these thoughts. I think we never heard in your preparation round. Great. Okay. So, yeah, from there, I think this is the last aspect that we talked about. I think this is the last quadrant that you touched briefly on the employees and talent. Now, this is what we call as internal branding. Okay. This is one of the most important aspects and one of the least what you call, you give a space that is almost ignored most of the times. Internal branding. Why internal branding is because the world sees, like, forget about the world, let's come closer home. At home, right, if a kid is doing some mischievous, notorious thing, the first thing neighbor looks up, not with the kid, to the parent, right? And if a kid does a great job, then again they will look back at the parents. Wow, what a good culture, what a good behavior, what a great intelligence, right? So it's a similar thing. So the world is not just looking at your product and services; it's also looking at in a very closely networked world today, is that too, particularly that has just, you would say, a 5-point connect to anyone and anyone in the world, everyone in the world. 5 degree of connect, they say. You can connect to anybody else. In that, people are not just watching your product and services. People are also watching how you're running your business. And internal ecosystem that you have built in the firm has the best knowledge about your company, your values, your culture, the why part of it, philosophies, and they are the best resource. And how a brand manager leverages this. I'm not just talking about CEO. Everybody has to leverage this, but even from a brand aspect, how do you kind of market your stories? It's very, very important for you to market your stories, so that your messaging is also kind of combined into DNA of your employees, right? And how do you leverage it? There are a few good things that we do, and this is not really a benchmark, but this is what we do, and that's what I thought we'll present. Like what we do at JSA, we launch internal hackathons. Internal hackathons can be, you all know hackathon, right? This was traditionally made for the coders to come together and co-curate a solution. Bring an idea and create a solution. Right now, hackathon has become famous and everybody uses this platform. Within the firm, you should create these hackathons on a regular basis. Either it could be strategy led, which means you're looking at some of the business issues, business opportunities, and then invite your employees to come, make a team, and bring you solutions. Or even otherwise, on an ongoing basis, innovation should be a common theme. You can call it innovation, you can call it disruption, you can call it digital, anything that you can call. But you need to create those a platform to get newer ideas. And people are working for a longer time in the organization, understands all the nuances. They know the 9 yards, and they would be able to come out with solutions that sometimes the leaders may not be thinking. So very important. We do that even for marketing. In fact, our recent broadcast series was an idea of an internal. I know one of the partners coming out and sharing this. Why don't we do this? And we ended up doing, and it became a good success. We also launched our YouTube channel using that. Similarly, knowledge development is another important pillar. That's also equally important, led by the talent team, which is the HR or human capital team in the firm. But even from a marketing side, you need to kind of constantly run the KSS, stands for knowledge sharing sessions, on various themes, inviting some of the industry experts. For example, in our industry, where we are a domain expert, right, in the area of law, legal. We can talk about all the regulations, all the relevant cases, scenarios, and so on. But our lawyers still need to be educated from what are the industry challenges, and who knows this better? People from the industry, from the sectors. Today, there's a privatization happening in the railways. So there are its own challenges, its own opportunities. Who can guide us? And we are trying to help private players to come into this space. We should also understand these nuances. Who can help us? So constantly use those. That will also help you both in creating an external eminence as well as internal knowledge. Content. You may not believe, last year, Jay, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have done more than over 950 different contents across all the leading media channels.
That's correct, sir.
Almost 90% have come from internal, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
All internal. So I don't have to really hire content writers or anybody. Your people are the biggest strength. Look and leveraging, and that too in these trying times where you have limited for budget. Think different. Your procurement guy can write a brilliant content. Every function person within your firm can be leveraged. They can bring out nice stories that can be published. Look at British Airways, right? The recent campaign, not the fake one, the real one. How they have come up with employees trying to bring a beautiful story here, that we will be back. I think, if I'm not mistaken, when the Maggie band days, I think there was a beautiful stories that people curated, employees curated, that we miss you too. That was a beautiful campaign that they ran. So look at how can we leverage. A good brand manager looks at leveraging this particular biggest strength of any firm, the internal ecosystem. We have also started something called work from home stories. We run this very effectively internally within JSA. I think we made a beautiful video of all our employees, about their work from home life, various activities they did, and we stitched into a song, and it was a big hit. In these times, it's very difficult to come to an office. We are all working remotely, and therefore we may not meet as frequently as we used to. So this kind of campaigns would immensely help people to stay connected, remember, bring those right moments and memories that people can relate to, and and that'll help enhance internal cohesiveness, which is very important. And some of them actually use for external eminence too. You must have seen a lot of those videos of how working from home live videos that most of the companies, brands, put across social media, and that also gives a tremendous amount of a brand visibility. People look at different things in the story. Somebody relate to the, oh, this is a great organization to work for. This is cool organization. This is, very people loving organization and so on. And therefore, those campaigns are very, very subtle, but they're very, very effective and impactful. I think with that, I think we come to end of our session. One, maybe a closing remark from my end is, again, I'm going back to Mr. Jobs. Always, as a brand manager, you need to, they say, there's a constant search for a question. So you need to ask this question to yourself. When you're creating a brand story or creating a brand, that where do I fit my brand in this entire world? And start from that broad question, and then you will come, into specifics. You come into your strength, your market, your purpose, your belief, your values, and then you come at a great messaging. And maybe one day you'll be able to create another powerful brand, for another organization or your own organization. So thank you so much. These were our thoughts. These were completely mine and Jaya's personal thoughts and based on experiences. Our intent was to kind of share this experience, and this is not in any means a benchmark or a definition of any of the terms that we used in our presentation. So thank you so much. We will be open for any questions.
Thank you, Bharat and Jaya. That was very wonderful, and certain concepts which we have not come across otherwise. We have heard about it. So we have. I request the attendees to pose their questions. Now is a Q&A session, and there are some couple of questions already. Shall I put it across?
Sure.
Yeah, there's from Dr. Anjali Ganesh. Her question is how to leverage brand asset to drive growth amidst the crisis situations like COVID. And one more she has, can the brands become liability from asset position? Bharat and Jaya, over to you.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, the first question I missed. What is the first question? Can you repeat the first question?
First question, how to leverage brand asset to drive growth amidst the crisis situations like COVID?
Okay. I think that was the essence of what we kind of, touched today. See, your brand speaks, right? People relate to brand. Sometimes, what a brand can do in these situations. So here in this situation, brand has to touch emotional aspect, right? It is not a business rationale. We are not thinking rationally much. We are not consciously making decisions, as I was, touching in the earlier part of my presentation. So when people are kind of, quite, disturbed, quite not sure of, how to deal with the situation, the best thing that you do is, what that example Jaya gave. The kid knows that my father is under tremendous stress today. Our mom is not well today. This is not the right time to make my demand. So we are the same kids when we talk about brand managers. We are always seeking attention, brand, right? This is a time maybe for us to pause. And trust me, like parents, your customers are watching you. They know that you're giving this space intentionally. And then another statement she made, what that survey talked about. This is the time where people expect you to be helpful. Like what Diageo did. See, that same, again, a great example of an Alcobev company, beautifully giving, taking another contrast step and, bringing out an initiative that actually creates a tremendous amount of positive vibes in the mind. So yes, that's how you use a brand asset. Diageo is famous, Diageo is popular, Diageo has capabilities, and used in a right manner, and that gave them a tremendous positive vibes in the market. Okay,
Oh.
that is the first question. Jaya, you want to add anything?
No, that example which, because emotion and how emotions are driving everything nowadays. Important to your customers who are watching you, your clients who are watching you, they're watching you with a positive lens.
Yes.
The second one, liability. Yes, hope we've answered your question. The second one is liability, of course, yes. You'll not believe, sometimes we kind of, it's funny to see a lot of this regular advertisement which is coming today, right? Some of the brand managers don't see that, look, it's a time for me to pause. It is not just, sometimes, giving advertisements on a continuous basis, whether there is a demand or not, whether the market is disturbed or not, without looking at that aspect. You continue your campaigns, right? Just because you're paid, you have an agreement. If you don't relook at what happens, you are also wasting a tremendous amount of money if the messaging is not right. Some of these big brands I talked about, whether it's Nano, it's Timberland, Maruti's Kizashi, right? They also came, to India. If you know that brand, it came and it is almost like, not so visible today. What they try to do, this is not a crisis situation, but I'm also giving an example to just to give you the perspective. When they launched this brand, they thought they're going to compete with that super premium segment. They did not have a product. But that market is the market that the Mercedes of the world or BMWs of the world, they occupy. Now, in the customer mind, there is already that segmentation is very clear. Now, even if you come and, market position in market, and plus you start investing so much of money into marketing that brand, celebrities, and incrementally it's going to, add to losses because you didn't understand the context, didn't understand the positioning. Right, so that's why it's very, very important for a brand manager to understand the context and contextualize your brand. Otherwise, most of these, brands that came across and failed miserably. Even, for example, the Beetle is another classic example. You must have, owned the Beetle cars, right? So, you don't know where to segment that today. People don't understand that. Some people think it's like funny, and funny means it may not be elegant, right? So. Again, is a challenge. So one of the things that people should also look at, if you don't know how to contextualize your brand, how to deal with a situation, how to reflect, not react, reflect to a situation, your brand can become a tremendous, liability for you. Both internally, but also externally create a lot of negative impact for the people who are behind the brand. Right? Unfortunately, we have multiple cases today that I would not wish to talk in a public forum, where I would have loved to give those examples. As, people who successfully created negative brands.
Interesting thoughts. We have time for one more query. In fact, it is more of a clarification. This is from Niranjan Shetty. He asks, can you please tell me the emergence of social media chart showed in slide number 12 is for the whole world or a specific country? The emergence of social media chart which you had shown is for the whole world.
It's for the whole world, yes.
Okay, it's for the whole
But
world.
of course, do keep in mind that these surveys are done with keeping the population in mind who had TVs. Not everybody had TV at some point of time.
Yes. Okay.
2011, where most countries had televisions and most people of any strata had TVs. So yes, it's for the world.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's more than the data points there. Whether it's belong to whether you take for India or this on social media. Today it's an open world wide web. What is important there is the shift. What we are talking about, the pivot.
Yes.
Right. From a branding side, some of these traditional thoughts has to be then looked at from a new lens.
Okay.
Right. Some of the languages, typically traditional languages are very sophisticated. Right. But today, we are in the world of, you have social media language is completely different from your traditional
Yes, very true.
language, right? So most of the things I think somebody has to understand those. For example, a classical way of writing a mail is dear and warm regards and kind regards, thankfully yours, and all those stuff. These are the traditional words.
Very true, very
Correct.
true.
And in the social media that doesn't work, and people think, okay, what's wrong? So there at the max, you will say, oh, cheers, right?
Yes,
And that's about it.
yeah, correct. Yeah.
So I think those are the subtle nuances that one has to understand.
I think that's it. The questions, the Q&A. So let's come to the end of the webinar. As formality, I'll just wind up. On behalf of the management of SDAC and the Department of Business Administration, I would like to thank our esteemed speakers, Mr. Bharat Shivappa and Ms. Jaya A. Kumar, for sharing their practical insights of the industry. I thank both of them for sparing their valuable time and enhancing our knowledge. Thank you, Bharat, and thank you, Jaya.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Pinto.
So,
Bye.
I also thank the attendees for their active participation during the webinar. I request the attendees to kindly fill the feedback form, which will be mailed to you, or this also put up in the chat. On responding to the feedback, e-certificates will be issued to you in a couple of days. Okay. So thank you, everyone. We had a very good session. Thank you, Bharat, and thank you, Jaya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you.
Stay safe.
Bye.